So you want to know about your hair characteristics. Let me put this out first. Your hair characteristic and your hair texture are not the same thing. Your hair characteristic and your hair texture are not the same thing. We're gonna go over 5 ways you can tell your hair characteristic. Number 1, absorption. So basically, absorption is how your hair absorbs products, basically. So for example, for my hair, I have a high absorption. So my hair soaks up anything that it can get its hands on. So the best way to tell this, if you put, let's say, like any type of moisturizer, like a heavy moisturizer, see how fast your hair soaks it up. If it takes a full day for it to soak up, then you have a very low absorption. If it takes only like a few hours to soak it all up, you have a high absorption. And a way to check to see if it's like soaked up in your hair is to feel your hair. If your hands are still greasy or still have a lot of that product left over on your hands, that's how you can rate your absorption rate. Also, I want to let you know, just because you have 4C hair, because this is a really big misconception, that even though it is common in 4C hair, for example, my mom has 4C hair, but she has a very low absorption rate. So that's why I keep stressing that just because you have a certain hair texture doesn't mean you have the same hair characteristics. Okay, let's go. Number 2, motability. So motability is basically how your hair molds. It's kind of like self-explanatory. So the way to test that is how well your hair forms. Like if you're doing a twist out, how long does your hair hold the curls, for example, or a braid out, how long does it hold? I have a medium absorption rate. I mean, a motability. I'm sorry. I have a medium motability. And sometimes motability can determine, sometimes it could just be your hair characteristic, but sometimes it could be a problem. So if you're realizing that your hair is really dry and it's a little damaged and it's not molding very well, you could be lacking moisture. If it is really, really stiff, you could be lacking, if it's really, really like loose and floppy, you could be lacking protein. So just determine which one is in your perspection, if you know what I mean. If your hair is very stiff and doesn't move too much, you could be lacking a lot of moisture in your hair. So you really want to focus on that. If your hair is very floppy and it's not holding anything at all, you could be lacking a lot of protein in your hair. So if you're on either or the spectrum, you need to focus on those things. It's more common for people to be lacking moisture than it is protein, or because it's really, I haven't met a lot of clients that have had too much protein, because you can have breakage on either side from either one, either too much protein or too much moisture. It can be damaging to your hair either way. I found my perfect balance. So my motability scale is like right in the middle. So yeah, so test your hair out and see where you kind of scale on that. Number 3, rejection. And no, I'm not talking about the romantic kind, obviously. So rejection of your hair is basically how your hair reacts to certain products that it doesn't like. So every person is different. From my example, for me, the way my hair rejects products is that it will not absorb it at all. Like I can, because I have a very high absorption rate. So if I know that my hair um, if it takes like a full day for me to absorb something, then I know that it's just sitting there and my hair is not taking it. For example, one of my other clients, um, when she when her hair is rejecting something, she automatically, or her hair automatically gets really brittle or itchy, and that's how she can tell that, okay, her hair isn't liking this. For some people, their hair starts to break off a little bit, like the ends start to break off a little bit if the hair doesn't like something. So I highly, highly, highly pay attention to those very subtle things, because your hair could be telling you that this product isn't good for you, as well as pay attention to what's in the product to show what exactly it is that your hair is not specifically liking, so you don't make the mistake of buying other products or new products in the future that have that same ingredient. For example, my hair doesn't really absorb petroleum very well, so I do not put that in my hair because it will just sit there, as well as some other products. So make sure you look at pay attention to your hair signals and pay attention to what you're putting in your hair. Number 4, bioresponse. So what I mean is your biological response. So your hair is connected to your head. So it responds to your body just the same as the rest of your body responds to the environment. So let's say, for example, but what I mean, let's say, for example, you're having a stressful day, and your body reacts a certain way, and your hair does too. You just have to pay attention to those little subtle things. So a lot of the times with people, it's not the products that they use, it's not anything that they're doing wrong. Like, it's not the medication, it's not anything. Sometimes it's just they're either in a really, really intense state for far too long and it's affecting their hair. For example, I have high anxiety and anxiety attacks. Whenever I hit an anxiety attack, I immediately notice, and after I like pass through the phase, I immediately notice a change in my hair. It gets very, like, the color fades a little bit, it gets really brittle and dry. It gets really, really dry. So I have to make sure that I'm keeping myself calm and learn how to manage my mental state to make sure that I am at a good state at all times, to make sure my hair is like as healthy as possible. Because I have gone through that many, many times, so my hair has gone through the ringer, I'm pretty sure. But make sure that you are paying attention to your mental state and your physical state as well. Number 5, lastly, is your growth rate. So this is common for everybody. I'm pretty sure everybody knows this, but this is a characteristic of your hair, because everybody has different growths. So my hair, I know, has highs and lows in my growth, so it grows differently during, like, depending on the season or depending on my menstrual cycle. So I have to pay attention to those, so I know when I'm gonna have a high growth rate. So some people, let's say at the beginning of the month, they just really have a really good, like, their hair is growing, but then towards the end of the month, it kind of slows down. And yes, this is a thing. A lot of people don't realize this. For me, I would say whenever I am at around my menstrual cycle, my hair is just like skyrocketing. It's just like grow. And then after my menstrual cycle, it kind of like slows down and goes back to normal. No, my hair is like pretty seasonal. Like it reacts the same during the seasons. I think it's more so towards the beginning of the months. I don't know why. Just my hair just decides to grow at a fast rate, and then towards the ends of the months, that's when to me it's like I notice it slows down quite a bit. So I would say pay attention to those things, and I think that's pretty much it, because that does count as a hair characteristic. So you could have a high intense growth where your hair just grows naturally really fast, like my sister's, or you can have a really slow, slow growing process. Even if you try to speed that up a little bit, sometimes it's just your hair characteristic that it just grows really slowly. And make sure you measure this growth rate when your hair is at its healthiest. That's when you're gonna get the best results, or the most accurate results, is when your hair is like completely healthy. The reason why I'm telling you this is because if you can determine your hair characteristics, it's gonna make such a difference. I'm telling you, you're gonna have a lot less stress on your hands. If you're stressing out on how to take care of your hair, learn its characteristics. You're not only gonna save money on buying products, you're gonna know exactly what to put in your hair. You can tell hairstylists, you can know if the product that the hairstylist is gonna use is gonna F up your hair. Like, it's so much easier to take care of, because you know exactly what's going to happen. You know exactly how your hair is gonna react to, a braid out or something like that. Like, knowing the type of hair you have and how it reacts will make your life so much easier. I promise you. So start doing these tests. It's better to test all these things out when your hair is at its healthiest state, but you can still do it now. Like, you can still see how your motability is when you have like permed hair, or when you're at like transitioning too. And it might be, I would recommend doing it again once your hair is really healthy, whether it's like permed really healthy or like just one texture. Like, if you're gonna do permed, make sure your hair is as a healthy state as it's permed. If you're transitioning, I would do it again once you cut off the permed ends. And if you have locks, you can do this too. Like, I have locks as well, so you can do this if you have locks. And if you have natural hair, this is basically your golden ticket. So that's all I have to say today. I hope you guys try this out, and if you do, please let me know what your ratings are down below, from like a scale from 1 to 10. 1 being low motability, and then 10 being like high. I hope this helped you guys, and I hope this made sense as much as I possibly could. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below, and I will see you next week on my next week's video. And make sure to check out last week's video if you haven't seen it yet. I think that's all I have to say. All right, I'll see you guys Monday morning. Bye.